chicken parties, and which is why I have this fried chicken. Now that's going to stick in your head, right? Because, a young girl, chubby corn, getting fat and cute on fried chicken. That's of my life.
That sounds pretty wonderful.
It is. And I'm one of the 4 co-creators of Chubbiverse. 2 months ago, we launched Chubby Corns, and then we just recently dropped Chubby Friends, which is a bigger collection as well. So that's been a massive journey and learning curve for me, as I'm a marketing growth person and community person, not necessarily more tech. So this is all new for me. So I'm super interested, Otter, to learn about staking. So I'm here for that too.
Cool. Yeah, I think our wider community is too. So we're really glad to have you here, Otter, to go through that too. And we can definitely dive into that. Usually, how we structure these updates, we'll do a couple quick, just recap of some of the things that we shared over the last week and some of the upcoming things, and then we can dive a bit more into that conversation too. So a few things just to highlight from last week. It's been an awesome week here in the community. Of course, we shared a couple exciting partnerships with NFT Worlds, which in partnership with them, we're going to be having custom skins to play as Axolittles within NFT Worlds, which is really exciting. That project's been getting a ton of momentum, and big shout out to the community for building out that world. It's looking super amazing, and you can check that all out on our Twitter. Of course, we also had a few other partnerships with Fly Frogs. That's going to be we're going to be doing some live drawing with them, and we also shared a little bit about the 3D models from Mini's side, which are coming along quickly. So we'll definitely have things to share on that front. So overall, been a really exciting week. We passed 30,000 followers, which is a huge number in the NFT space, and we're just growing our momentum from there. So this community is really showing up and being strong, and we're building something great here together. A few of the upcoming things, of course, we'll have staking, which we'll get into a bit tonight, and then this morning, wherever you are. And then we also, of course, we'll be hinting at some other announcements, along with ones that we'll have with Chubbiverse that we will most likely release either later today or tomorrow, depending on the timing. So really looking forward to that. So with that being said, it'd be great to maybe we can start a little bit with just our guest here with String. If you want to tell us a little bit more, also just about your experience launching this collection, and what kind of the state is with Chubby Friends right now.
I literally been following the NFT or Bitcoin. Oh, let me go back to the journey of how I got into crypto. Literally, I was always been a early adopter on social platforms, and I remember sending emojis of Bitcoins to people, and I was like, "Hey, let me pay you coffee with this cookie emoji," and I will give them little bits of Bitcoin. If I kept all that Bitcoin right now, I'd be super rich. I know that. So, but the whole idea was I feel like I always like these moments where I'm just early. And again, I feel like I've been early in different platforms. I was early on LinkedIn, early on social platforms, but I always felt the future of creativity, tech, and community will combine eventually, and it happened, right, with NFT, because it allows us to reward and incentivize creative people and remove the middleman and think about ownership. And I think when I got into it, my first collection was the Chubby Corn. I went around to my network and said, "Hey, do you have cute pictures that we could create?" And one of my friends did an e-commerce, and she showed me hundreds of characters, and the one that stood out was these fat, chubby unicorns. And we created 250 because for me, the Dunbar number is always about how many communities make a community, and 150 or 100 is the sweet spot. So I was like, "Hey, can you do hand-drawn 250 derpy chubby corns?" And they did. I think the two creators created it hand drawn. And if you look at our chubby corn collection on OpenSea, we just uploaded it. I spent like 12 hours, like 6 to 8 hours, just even the whole day, just grinding and uploading them individually. And there's still some metadata mistakes. And I think I left it there to show that, even creative people don't need dev or tech to do your first small collection. And because of that, it was just been a stunning growth model because we were able to find and attract people who really love it. And we had one of these early campaigns where we just became friends. It was like, hey, pudgy penguins didn't have any legs. Axos don't have legs. They need friends. So we literally just chucked. Do you remember that? Like how we just chucked all pudgies and gave them big legs and then made them ride chubby corns? And that kind of worked, right? Because now we have a vibes of we're friends. We're like friends of NFTs.
Yeah.
And, your meme game is like nothing else.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and that's it's a creative of the combination of a whole team, to tell the truth. People think it's froggy, but it's the narrative that goes into it is very meta. There's we're very calculated as a team, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
And I think and now because of that momentum, we were able to, and we launched in the middle of loot season. Remember how PFP died a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Tech? So we launched in the middle of loot. I was and I was thinking, no, don't give up. Sometimes you just need to, especially because I was so new to the space. I was just pinging everyone.
Yeah.
I felt all the energy was going into the loot wave. And look at loot now; it's gone down to almost not zero. But I still believe in the concept of loot, to tell the truth.
Yeah.
But it kind of showed how much Chubby Corn survived that. And again, 2 months later, we were able to launch Chubby Friends because we had that brand equity and the trust. But again, it's almost like we survived a really difficult season. So if anyone's listening and want to launch their own collection, there is no perfect time. Was that the case for you guys as well? Did you feel it was the perfect time to launch?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to jump in here, and I think it'll also be great to hear just about creating the whole collection from your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always a whirlwind of emotion, up and down and up and down, and it's a bull market, and then it's a bear market, and a bull market, and then it's all going to zero, and that's only on Monday. So I feel it's interesting because I think we started working on Axolittles in the NFT bull market, and then everything kind of crashed down, and we were in a big bear, and PFPs were dead, and we're like, well, let's take this to the finish line. And there was a little more work to be done, and by the time we had finished that, it was back in a bull market again. We're like, well, I guess waiting and really taking the time to make quality product paid off. So totally agree with you there. It's just a whirlwind of emotion. But I do think it's the strongest communities that are built together. You really see who's in it. People take the time. There's a joke that you read the white paper only when it goes down.
That
and
makes
you
sense. People ate in real quickly, to tell the truth as well.
Yeah. But I think it just gives time to really set the proper foundation, get Axolittles and Chubby Corn to the hands of as many people as possible, and then just skyrocket up from there. So
yeah, definitely the community aspect I think we've seen is super important. How, I mean, String, like you were talking about, with building these relationships, I think we're seeing the projects that are flourishing are the ones that are reaching out, and that's why we're really bringing a lot of projects in here, and really excited to be working with you on expanding the community. This is one big community. We're, as we all know, all going to make it together, and so we really take that seriously here, and definitely appreciate everything you're doing. And String, do you want to talk a bit more then about taking that from a small collection into a generative project, and also curious, Otter, on kind of the tech side of the generative thing. Maybe you can share some things with our community around that.
Oh, and was great because I think having a smaller collection allowed us to develop a PFP community product market fit. Sometimes when you do a bigger collection, you don't know if it will vibe with the community or not. It's either like go big, and we went the other way. I feel like we became a use case study of like small collection can grow potentially bigger as well. So, and so what we did was like we just were surprised by how people vibed with the chubby corn, and then it grew to the Chubbiverse because it became much bigger than us. But our team's kind of crazy as well because we also believed in quality. Product speaks about the quality of the team. We wanted not one character but 5 characters. We have like which is it's almost like creating 5 collections in one thing. So my team did chubby whales, which is like, when you think about it, it's like a fat balloon. Like, how do you create a really cute fat balloon? And they did really well in that. And we had the chubby coon
and farting rainbows.
And yes, and they develop into farty rainbows as well. And I think that kind of made people giggle. I have to give kudos to my nephew because he was the one who inspired me about like farting rainbows and vomiting rainbows. So it's like, what about both? Can't you do farting rainbows and vomiting rainbows? So like only kids would tell you crazy stuff like that. But
only in NFTs.
Yes, and it works in the NFT space as well. So like I guess like for me like I saw 3 trends in the NFT space. It's like it's either PFP collection, either cute or cool or cute. Like cool cats, Robotas, Axolittles fit in. I feel like you guys sit in the middle a little bit. Like you're really cool because like you had like the moving moments and stuff, like the GIF animated thing, because that's not typically normal in PFPs.
Yep.
And we decided to go for the cute market.
Yep.
And the second one has to be meme, and the third one has to be like Ether Rock, or is like a meme NFT, and the third one has to be artistic. And I realized like our formula is memeability, cuteness, and scarcity. So we were thinking about that as a formula, and that's how like we came up with like 5 chubby friends, because like we're crazy. We thought like people like to collect things and want to resonate with things that it identifies with them. So we realized PFP is also like a community tool where it tracks the people that you want in the community as well, and they use that as their profile pic if they resonate, like a sport club. Or so you probably noticed all of this as well. So I'm just like reiterating some of my key learnings. And since then, I think we're in the early stages, but I also feel like I'm very patient and optimistic about things. It's like we were able to mint out during a very difficult time as well. So it's like there's never a perfect time. You just have to like launch it and then keep going. I think that's like a big sign, because a lot of rug projects would just like launch and then not be around. So I think that's another, like having an active community or active dev team or a main core team being active. It's just an indicator of like, these are builders, not like people who just want to take the money and run away with it, because you can easily do that. I'm just being realistic here as well.
Yeah, we definitely see it all the time, and I really like what you said about like I think about combining these different elements. I think great projects, are going to be ones that combine memeability, cuteness, utility, all these different things. So I think the other aspect that we're really thinking about too, in addition to those things you mentioned, is just utility. And I think, how do you create something that is really also useful in addition to fun and memeable and all those things for your community. But I don't know, Otter, if you want to talk just also about like that process of, we kind of also took that approach of the cute kind of project and how we thought about that.
Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning, we noticed that a lot of the same animals were kind of being used over and over again. And we wanted to really be the cutest possible around, but weren't quite sure what to use until I think it was a friend who showed me a picture of his axolotl that he just gotten. I was like, what? There's no way that's a real animal. You're pulling, this is a platypus. this thing doesn't exist. You're pulling my chain.
It's almost like a unicorn.
Exactly. It's like, even they exist even less than unicorns. I believe I've seen more unicorns in my life than I've seen axolotls. So then the axolotl pun just wouldn't leave our minds, and we knew we had to do it. Came out with, and then the fun part was really, I think, designing all the different traits. We wanted to make it be as fun as possible and have something for everybody. And so it's been amazing to see in the community. There are people I know. Some people have reached out and said, "Hey, my daughter's in love. We got an axolotl because of this. Like I had an axolotl before this, and I knew I had to get an axolotl." So really just open my eyes to this world that I didn't know was out there. These incredible animals. And then we also tried to differentiate ourselves through the whole animation aspect of it. I know that Twitter's considering rolling out, letting people use GIFs, animations, as their profile pictures. So I think that could be a huge catalyst. And yeah.
Sorry, we also heard from Coinbase NFT 2 weeks ago that they're definitely, it'll be involved in that process too. So, or in their platform too. So we'll definitely be seeing it coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's fun to see them bobbing back and forth. Like they're in the water, like they're floating around. So that's been really awesome to see. And then, the one thing that cracks me up, I use this as my profile picture on Discord, but is my sophisticated axolotl. He's got a top hat and a monocle, and just trying to look very proper, even though he's just a cute little thing floating around. So yeah, I'd say that it's been fun to see that community kind of grow and nurture, and we want to see what we can do even further with it. And the Axe Aquarium development and partnerships there, I think, are going to bring a lot of eyes to our project.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we can dive into, before I get into some of the questions, just into a little bit of like what kind of projects. I'm really curious, String, like how you think about this too. Just like what projects like owe their holders, or like what type of utility, or art, or like how you think about like your relationship with what you want to deliver to your community too. Because we're just thinking about this a lot with staking coming out, with Axel Aquarium, all these things. There's some projects that are shipping and shipping and shipping, and there's some that are just all about the art. So I'm just curious how you think about that.
I think one great thing about NFTs that's making me rethink about, and even my relationship, is how to stack values. And that's something that I have to rework and relearn a lot. And I realized that having an active community, they let you know what they want as well. But it's also, as a person who's creating the collection and building up the Chubbiverse, I'm thinking about like, how can we make sure that we're 5 steps ahead of the learning curve, but also like make sure that everyone's aligned as well. So it's just like a bit of I'm learning a lot about game theory, to tell the truth. And so this is probably like, if anyone wants to know how to like add value and have a community that gives you, who really want to contribute as well, because I feel like the communities are the ones who are building it, and you have to give them the tools to help them build and have a place for them to have a voice. It's like, how do you stack up the values? So I've been also, because like we went from 250 to like 170 holders to like 2,000 holders as well. So the scale has gone directly 100. I don't know the numbers. I'm terrible with numbers. But you understand, like the scale has gone like from like 100 times or something like that almost. So you almost have to think about, how do you make sure that you still cater to 2 different collections and still like ensure that the values is given. And have been thinking about utility, but we don't have a roadmap, which is like something unusual about NFT collections, is that we listen to the community and then we tweak based on what they want as well. So it's a bit of a co-collaboration relationship that we have together.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's super interesting. I mean, I think we're all figuring out what the next phase of NFTs is going to be, and how communities grow together. We're also just excited to bring this outside of just like, how do we grow this bigger than just like Discord and Twitter and into, the mainstream space too. So I think a lot of people are thinking about that too, and trying to grow with their community in that direction. But maybe, Otter, if you want to chime in with any, I think we can get into staking a little bit and just kind of how we're building or thinking that out, and offering that to the community. If you have any updates there, I know we'll have some questions in the AMA too, but just curious on any updates there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we started Axolittles, we were thinking of it purely in an artistic sense, as something that people love the profile pictures so much that they just want them and have to have them. I think we really hit out of the park on that front, and so have begun to think even bigger and think what we can do to reward those who have been steady supporters of the project and really mainstays in the community. There's nothing like joining a new project's Discord and just being welcomed by helpful people, willing to answer questions and just talk and explain things. So the way that we're thinking about it is we can initially start out with an Axolitlles utility token that people earn over time via staking. And then that gives us the freedom and flexibility to roll out new interesting ideas, opportunities, drops over time that would be accessible to only those people holding the utility token. And I mean, the space is moving so fast that I think this gives us a great chance to maintain flexibility moving forward, but also really reward the diamond hands among us who are willing to stake their axos for the long term. So I'm excited to see what we come out with. It's been a lot of work, a lot of people putting their insights into this process, and we are getting close.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the exciting things is that, we're thinking about this, as a super holistic process. Like we have partnerships, like that's why we've got String here. We've got staking, the Axotherium coming out where you can, see your items in a virtual space. So we're really bringing all of these together. It's been really exciting. We're crossing the finish line with some of these things right now, and I'm sure the community will be really stoked about it when everything ships. So String, you had mentioned also being curious about staking and how that works. And do you have any, thoughts or questions about that you want to chime in with?
Oh, well, like maybe just go back to 101. This is how I'm still learning. Is staking are you adding the DeFi element into it? And why do you think staking is so important in for Axolitlles landscape? Is it just because you want to offer some kind of passive income for it, and does it also become like a security thing, or is this more like in-game token that you're providing for Axolitlles holders?
Yeah, definitely not a security, no expectation of profit, but it does let people demonstrate that they have been in the Axolitlles family for a while, and then based on that, lets us come out with new drops, and in a way it kind of acts like a whitelist for community members because they're the only ones who have gotten this token. And I think really just in the infinite landscape of DeFi composability, there are things that people will dream up that we haven't even been able to imagine yet. And so just putting Axolitlles in the right spot to be able to benefit from that and reward the early community members, I think is a great thing for us to do.
Okay. And what do they get in exchange for it? Do they just get so? You mentioned that it becomes like a white list for Axolotl holders.
We can't give away all of our secrets yet. We'll have these details.
Am I asking the right? Great, I'm asking the right questions.
Yes, we're still finalizing the plans on that front, but I think people will be excited.
Awesome. Yeah. I look forward to learning more and seeing what kind of offering for staking Axolittles have, because I have some. I'm a holder too.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're definitely, our community is we've got some chubby friends holders here too. So please share that around and get more people involved on all fronts if you're part of our community here too.
Yeah, big shout out to Nate as well, because he really believed in the Axolittles team and he's been active in the Chubby cons as well. So he introduced me to Axolittles. So I just wanted a big shout out to Nate.
Oh yeah, he's not in the chat here right now. I'm sure he'll listen to this later, but Nate's been great in the Axo community as well here. Cool. Maybe we can. I'd love to go through a few questions in the AMA. These may be more Axo focused, but I do want to. We maybe can get through these quickly, and then I'd love to hear kind of String your thoughts. You've been very inspirational as far as what can be built in this space. I'd love to get your thoughts too on just what's coming up next, how you think we can grow this space together. But maybe we can go through a few of these questions first. I'm guessing they'll be mostly staking related. If you're listening right now, if you want to ask anything about the Chubbiverse or Axolittles, you can jump into our Discord and into the weekly AMA questions channel and pop them in there. I guess the first thing, just a couple of clarifications for you, Otter. If you stake your Axos, will they show up in the Axaquarium? I think this is everything's being ironed out, but I don't know if you can answer that question. Yeah,
so the Axaquarium should just be for all Axolittles that you own, whether staked or not. So they should be visible in there.
Cool, great. That's pretty straightforward. So we'll go to the next one. Will you be able to? Will tokens have monetary value with the staking? Will they be able to be purchased and sell tokens on a decentralized exchange?
Yeah, so these will be valueless utility tokens. People can exchange them as they want to, but they're not intended to be money. Yeah. So we're staying away from that securities designation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way we're thinking about these are, what's the maximum utility that we can reward stakers with? How can we really utilize these tokens? How can we build up our partnership and all the use cases for what we can do with this token? So I think definitely think about it from the perspective of, or we're thinking about it from the perspective of how we add maximum utility to the community, in addition to all of just the art and participating in the community. So they will, I'm guessing, be available on DEXs.
Yeah, so they will. Yeah, so people, I imagine that people will spin up liquidity pools on DEXs for people to buy and sell and trade them, but we won't be backing that or creating those ourselves. That will be, I think, a community-led effort.
Great.
But I would not be surprised.
Absolutely. Anything about future DAO or not for now? I'm not sure if we can comment on this right now, but I think we're really focused on on staking and then also on the Axaquarium. We're not actively. I don't think we can actively share any details on a DAO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an interesting feature idea, but not currently have all our hands full. So
yep, cool. This next question I think is for maybe String. You can chime in on this too. Everyone here is currently under a different name than their real life name. So we talked about this last week with with a few of our guests about docs versus non-docs teams. Someone's asking, does it make a difference for people potentially investing in a project? How do you think about docs versus non-docs, and just how important it is in the NFT space?
I think it's just the trust thing, because when you're if there's no digital footprint of you and who you are and what you're capable of, people are unsure about it. That's why you have to make sure your PFP it really stands out. But I think you can Google me and find me, because like my community members, some of them know who I am as well. But I feel like in the NFT space, the spirit is like you need to be docs just to like be a little bit more degenerate. Whereas like I'm like one of those people, like I go all in or don't go all in, but I really like having my chubby coin as my profile pic. And people probably so it's kind of like indicating what kind of future I live in as well. And I'm always ahead of that curve. If anything, I throw people. If I put my LinkedIn profile of a chubby coin, everyone's going to be like, "Is she for real? I don't think I want to do business with her," which is good, because that means I have more time to focus on the Chubbiverse or the metaverse. And otherwise, like, String, can I pay you consulting fees for marketing? Like, only if you buy a chubby coin or NFT now. So that's like an extra. I actually make people buy NFTs if they want to talk to me. And I have done that numerous, because I think it's really important, because like that's kind of indicator that they have skin in the game. And I think so back to the question, it really depends. It's worked in my favor, I think, because once they realize who I was, and you probably go Google me, feel free to do that. It kind of shows like how strong the team is and the capability that we have. So if it's your first project and if you want to like, show that you're like a little bit more trustworthy, having been semi-doc is fine, I reckon. Maybe my answer is just be semi-doc.
Yeah. Otter, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, my thoughts on this. I think different people have different preferences. If you're buying if you're buying like a social token of some sort, then it's good to know who that social token belongs to. But I also think the power of crypto is that you don't necessarily have to trust people or have their driver's license or anything like that, because you can go and look at the code yourself, see that it's a trustless, permissionless system. So I see the appeal of both sides.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what we talked about last week too is there's certain trade-offs, like if if you're not doxxed and you're fully anonymous, you really put a lot of emphasis into the art and into shipping. And so I think from our perspective too, we're really thinking about this as like, how can we prove ourselves from just the content that the art that we're putting out, the utility we're offering to the community we're building together. And if we can really make that work, I think that's like the biggest, social proof of all, that, we're really building a community together. So I think there's definitely certain trade-offs. But I think there's a certain power in building something together where you have a really good team with a really great background, and we're not necessarily even relying on that background. We're just trying to prove to the community everything that we can do and the art that we can ship. So that's some of the ways that I think about it, at least.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have to say, it was incredibly validating to launch this project and see it take off without relying on any pre-existing reputation. Really solely from what we put together, and the fact that people loved it so much. So
I think that's because like you're one of the early ones, or let's do it early, right? So we could do it based
We're all early.
We're early.
Yeah. But I'm wondering what would be the next wave would be like, to either go be more docs or still semi-docs or even non-docs. So I'd be interested to see what the next waves is. But I think the PFP space is interesting, that you don't have to like showcase the team. It's just like, hey, this is like our skill sets, as based on our values instead of our reputation, which is super interesting for me.
That's funny. I do not think of us as an old project, but I suppose it has been several weeks. So
Exactly. It's pretty
yes,
amazing how
everything's relative.
it's pretty amazing how fast things things move, and just like also just the expectations for building and shipping things. You know, it's astronomical. So
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. Someone's just asking, this is related to staking again. Will having single rare axolitlls really be useful for staking? Also, those, not sure the second half, but basically, will a single be useful for staking?
Yeah. What will the gas be like?
Oh, gas. I was like, GAZ.
Yeah. So these are important questions. I think there's a bit of a trade-off between simplicity and the rarity rewards. So both options we're considering, but certainly I have a background in writing Solidity assembly, so going to do all I can to make the gas costs as cheap as possible. I know that matters a ton. And then also would like to reward the holders of rare Axos, but that's not set in stone yet. So we'll have to see on that one.
Yeah, I think we're working through some of those dynamics still in the final stretches here. Gas is a big consideration, not just for even staking, but we're thinking about it. You know, how do we really add utility for once you're staked without having to utilize a lot of gas while gas costs are so high? So we're thinking a lot about that. Like, how can you just stake and keep your Axos staked and accrue kind of utility as just by keeping it staked. So we're thinking about different ways from the development side, like you just heard, through developing really the marketing and utility on the other side once it's staked. Will there be an option for staking all? Oh, this is related. Will there be an option to stake all Axos at once?
Yes, there will be. So
cool.
And on the token and liquidity pools, yeah, we won't be spinning those up ourselves, but there are lots of early with LPs. I know the early adopters often make bank, so would not be surprised to see those come up.
Great, cool. The next ones are kind of related, but I'll jump to the liquidity pools again. That will be community run. When will Coinbase announce us joining them? We don't have any updates on that right now, but we of course had a Coinbase dev on a few weeks ago and confirmed we will be joining the platform. So it's all good on that front. We'll keep you updated when we have any types of other announcements that we can share. Zach's still planning to do an event at Art Basel, Miami. We're currently not. I'm sure we'll be ramping up our activities as far as like in-person things as those for the next wave. But currently we won't be planning to attend. Is Coinbase introduction confirmed? Is it possible to put all the answers here? Another Coinbase question. Nothing new to share there other than that, of course, we're in touch with their team. What factors in project let you decide to consider a project as your partner collaboration? This is a great question. I can of course answer this, but maybe it would be great to hear String, because you're here too. How you think about partnerships and who you choose to partner with.
I look at the projects and also see how aligned we are as well, because sometimes like if we have very similar communities, it makes sense to partner up. And I have to say, you guys fit in, Axolittles fit in the cube vibe. So it's like, yay, cube vibe, TFT forever.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it. And I guess like an advantage is like how old or like, I'm not saying you're not old, but just the fact that you survived this long kind of shows how powerful the team is. So that's what I consider as well. But also like just how active the community is. So I always like hang out in the Discord community just to see and sneak peek about like the engagement of the community. So that's those are some of my benchmarks. What about you? What makes you, what do you consider a good partnership?
Yeah, it's a great question, and for all of you listening now, you know we've got a lot of people lurking in the Discord, so show up, be your best, and and act in good spirit as you always do here. This is a really awesome and engaged community here. So I would say from our perspective, we're of course developing and rolling out a ton of partnerships. We're really focusing on that because we really see the bigger project as something that's going to include a lot of other projects and pull a lot of collab items and things like that into the X Aquarium. And just we love talking with other communities that have really active communities. I would say we vet in a few different ways. One is, of course, unique, like you mentioned, unique number of holders and how active is the community, how big is the community, because we really want to expose Axolittles to a lot more people, and I think that's everyone's really interested in that. So usually we will really talk to teams that have really, really engaged communities who we know are going to come over, or where we feel really confident sending our large community out to go explore in the deep Discord all corners of the Discords of our partners. So I would say that those definitely, the community engagement is top. Another thing I would mention is that as we're kind of reaching out to do partnerships with like bigger brands or people outside of the space, we're really interested in bringing new brands into the NFT space. So that's like a big effort on our side too. Of course, we've partnered with a lot of other projects within the space right now, but we're actively pursuing, how do we get, bigger companies and brands involved in the NFT space. And I think once we bring some of those people in, it's going to be good for everyone. It's going to be good for all of our partners, and we can really do some bigger events where we reach, a lot more people than we just currently see together. So I don't know if that totally answers the question, but we definitely are really focused on partners, and our big priority is, what's the quality of the project, what's the size of the community, how do we grow our community, and also just like what is fun. Because so
I'm glad you said that.
I said like a bunch of serious stuff, but like honestly, it's like you're farting rainbows and we're these like mesmerizing creatures that move around, and it's a pretty fun situation.
You're right. I just forgot about that, and like it made me giggle so much. It's like, how fun is this project? What is the giggle factor? Like, a giggle factor is like strong. That's like good first impression for me if they could giggle with us.
Yeah, exactly. I actually think that's a pretty big factor now that I think of it, but definitely, yeah, definitely. So I could definitely talk about that for a lot longer, but let's move on here. Two things. Nate gave me my first Axo. He is the GOAT, that's for sure. That's from John HQ. Second thing, I've been trying to buy Chubby Corn for about a week. One of my offers just got accepted. Awesome, congrats. So this is for String. Very important question. Which animal type in the Chubby Friends is your favorite?
Well, I'm a Chubby Corn number one for sure, but because you asked me about Chubby Friends, I think I'm partial for the Chubby Souls and the Chubby Whales. It's a debate between like a fat whale with their derpy face or Chubby Soul, because I really like their flame hairs. So I can't decide. I'm like debating about it.
I like the whales a lot. They're really cool.
Yeah. Oh, but they also fit into because it's a water creature. They could fit into the Axolittles world really well as well.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. Cool. Let's see. With the utility tokens, are you guys still planning on selling items for the X Aquarium? Yes, we'll have details on the mechanics behind this, but most likely will be the part of the utility for the token will be things like merch and other items that you can add into the X Aquarium. And the next question is, how will these collabs be implemented? We've obviously been announcing a lot of collaborations, and we'll have details on how they'll be implemented. I'll say we're pulling them all together. We will have an announcement, most likely right after staking, about how everything fits right into the X Aquarium. Can devs or mods make a video guide for staking? Yeah, we'll have graphics and things like that. We'll consider video, but we'll first just have a guide with some graphics and things like that come out. Cool. So I think that's we're burning through time here. We've gotten through all of our questions. Maybe a few parting things. Would love to hear String on your side and from you, Otter, too. Just about what your thoughts are on the future of the space, what kind of where you see us right now. If people are just joining the NFT space, like what do we tell them about where we're at in this in the cycle of the space, and what do you see as kind of the future from here?
I'd like to start. I think of all the crypto has been around for a long time, but NFT has made it almost the perfect gateway for a non-crypto person to join, just because it's cute images that people could relate to, and it's like a great entry way to it, and it's also a great education point of view of like decentralization and centralization, because there's a massive learning curve. So I think NFT is the gateway or the door to the crypto world. But with the future of NFTs, we're still super early. If anything, it's reimagining what the metaverse will be like. How do NFT build the future for metaverse and build that relationship up? Because I feel like we're builders now. If anything, if you're a builder, a creative person, and if you want to like create your own space and create your own rules, because it's programmable, this is like totally a whole new game to play in, because it's Web3 right now. And there's a lot of discussions about it. So it's the golden age of creativity. I'm going back to the roots of creativity for me specifically as well. What about you, Otto and Satya? What are you excited about?
How about everything? I think we've just really begun in the NFT space as a whole to discover what's possible, and even the primitive things we've come up with so far have been huge hits. I see a lot of catalysts on the horizon for wider spread adoption. I'm super excited to see the launch of lower cost marketplaces with Coinbase and a couple others that'll be competing soon. I think that the NFT DeFi integration has barely begun. We're only starting to see the beginnings of that, and people, yeah. So not to mention the fact that I think it's 10 or 20,000 people that have ever used OpenSea. So we really are on the cutting edge. I know it feels late because we've been through 3 bull and bear markets this year alone, but I do think that the whole excitement is just beginning. So I'm pumped to be around with all of you for it.
Awesome. Thanks for those perspectives. I think one insight I'll just give is that some people definitely these things move in cycles. People compare this sometimes to the ICO boom and things like that. And having been through that, I just want to say this is nothing like that. This is, once you buy your first NFT, you don't want to give that little character up, and you want to participate in that community, and there's, of course, not to mention everything that Otter just was talking about with all of the possibilities. I think it's also just completely different with the attachment to the communities that we're building together, and to the art, and to just the kind of joy that we get out of it. So I really am excited for the community building aspect, and just the the joy that we get from participating in these communities and building it together. So really, really excited for this next wave, for new people to come in. String, you mentioned us being a old school project at, multiple weeks old. A little bit longer than that, but everyone here is going to be an original old school holder when the masses come in. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing those new people exposed to this whole mind exploding world of NFTs.
And if I could add one more thing as well, for anyone who's listening to the space right now, and because we're so early and the wave is coming, just be gentle with them because they're going to be super newbies as well. And I think our role is to help make it easier, because I don't think gas for them is going to be overwhelming for them. Setting up a MetaMask will be interesting for them, but I hope like Web3 will make it easier over time. But we just have to be that like a little bit more empathetic and a little bit more patient for people who come into the space, because it's a totally new world for them and they're super excited to be part of it as well. So the experience of that first entry is going. Let's just give them giggles and sparkles along the way.
That's super inspiring. Really, thank you everyone for joining. I think we'll wrap it up. String and Otter, thank you for joining. We're gonna have an announcement coming out together with Chubbiverse shortly. Really, really stoked to be working with your team over there, String, and everything that we're building over here. We'll have, as always, a lot of announcements in the upcoming week and things to share. So stay tuned. We'll also be sharing this recording so that you can share it around or re-listen or listen if you haven't made it right now. So thank you everyone for joining and for being part of the community. We're all part of this big NFT community and really, really excited to be part of it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming.
All righty. We will see you. Drop into the Discord, check out the Chubbiverse Discord and the Axolittles Discord, and we will keep hanging out in there. All right. Have a good day, everyone.